Everyone. Thank you for being here this morning. It's a wonderful day. It's absolutely beautiful here in coastal Virginia. The sun's shining. It's not real warm, but the air is clear. The wind has laid. It promises to be a beautiful autumn day. So thank you for sharing your day this morning with me. And we look forward to experiencing this day that we have created collectively because together we are all of it. We are it. And so let's begin today with our breathing exercises. Remember, we breathe in, we hold, we breathe out. We breathe in, we hold, we breathe out. And so we breathe in, we hold, we breathe out. We breathe in, we hold, we breathe out. We breathe in, we hold, we breathe out, and continue. We breathe in, hold, we breathe out. And so come on back, shake your hands, shake your feet, open your eyes, blink a couple of times, rub the sleep dust out of your eyes. All right, there we go. Hello again. It's good to see you. So today I want to talk about relationships. Last night, our big book study. Oh, by the way, if you want to support my work, please go to paypal.me/ capital Mystic capital Paul. That's capital MYSTIC capital PAUL. PayPal me / Mystic Paul. It's up here in the front, at the front of this page. So last night we were doing our Conversations with God reading book study, which anyone is welcome to join. All you have to do is send me a message, and I will be happy to include you in the list. We do it on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I guess they call it Eastern Daylight Time now. And uh, we do that every Wednesday night. There's a group of us who all meet on Zoom. So if you're interested in that, please join us. And so last night we were reading Conversations with God, Book 1, and we were on chapter 8. And it begins by Neil Donald Walsh, the author of the book, Asking God, Goddess, all that is, however it is you particularly title your higher power, your consciousness, your greater self. So, chapter 8, Neil asks, when will I learn enough about relationship to be able to have them go smoothly? Is there a way to be happy in relationship? Must they be constantly challenging? And so, as is the way this book is written, God answers Neil. In the process of writing the book, God answers Neil in an automatic writing situation. But here's God's answer. You have nothing to learn about relationships, Neil. You have only to demonstrate what you already know. There is a way to be happy in relationships, and that is to use relationships for their intended purpose, not the purpose that you as a human have designed. Relationships are constantly challenging, constantly calling. They're constantly calling you to create, express, and experience higher and higher aspects of yourself, grander and grander visions of yourself, even more magnificent versions of yourself. Nowhere can you do this more immediately, more impactfully, more immaculately than in relationships. In fact, without relationships, you cannot do it at all. It is only through relationship with your other people, places, and events that you can even exist as a knowable quantity, as an identifiable something in this universe. Remember, absent everything else, you are not. You only are what you are relative to another thing that is not who you are. That is how it is in the world of the relative, as opposed to the world of the absolute, says God, which is where I live. Once you clearly understand this, once you deeply grasp it, then you intuitively bless each and every experience, all human encounter, and especially personal human relationships. One of the more required, cancel that. It's either required or it's not. It can't be more required. The required understanding is that there is no separation among us. There is no you and me. Right up to and including the presence of God. There is God, and that is everything. We, you and I, are part of that total God experience. Truly understanding and embracing relationship, truly understanding and embracing that without no Paul, there is not any Paul, is what validates the whole existence. There is only one human being known as Paul Fitzsimmons in this world. Now, that doesn't mean I'm the only person named Paul Fitzsimmons. That means that I am the only person living this particular expression of Paul Fitzsimmons. And the way this particular expression of Paul Fitzsimmons becomes this particular expression is for all the rest that is not Paul Fitzsimmons. And that's how it is played out in this relative world, in this three-dimensional plane, in this free choice reality. In the absolute reality, all is. In the three-dimensional reality, we are given the opportunity to choose realization that all is and bring it present in this three-dimensional plane of our own free will and choice, which is outside of the regular activity of this three-dimensional plane, which is what makes relationship or relationships difficult to navigate. When I approach a relationship as though there is you and me, then we are in competition. We are trained to realize, we are trained to the realization that there is me, Paul Fitzsimmons, and you, whomever you may be. I see I see that Mary Lee is out there today, and she says that my voice is hard to hear, which I don't understand, but let me see if I can help that. Nope, it's all the way up. But anyways, I'll talk louder. Thank you, Mary Lee. Mary Lee and I are two individual beings manifest in this three-dimensional plane. Yet, in the greater experience of life as it is, in the absolute, Mary Lee and I are cut of the same cloth. We are one. The realization in relationship, to make relationship work, is to let down my defenses of the separateness, to stop being right. That's the hardest part of the whole experience, is to release being right and begin to embrace being part of. It's imperative that Paul Fitzsimmons chooses to realize that I am the child of God, that you are the child of God, of Goddess, of all that is. And we are one. We are the same. And the necessary activity for our own development and our own rising expression in this three-dimensional plane is to choose consciously to be that one. By choosing consciously to be that one, the complication in relationship diminishes. It is not an easy task because we are all conditioned to accept that we're separate. So I may release myself from the idea of separate consciousness. That doesn't mean that you release yourself. And so, although I may choose, that doesn't mean that the way you come to me will not be in competition. And in that moment, I have to re choose to embrace that we are on the same path, the path of higher self realization. It's not easy. It's not easy. I'd like to say it is easy, but I have not experienced that it is. Every day I must call myself forward so that in my interactions, in my relationships with other human beings, I remain neutral. Neutral is the key. It's not right or wrong. Right or wrong does not exist on a higher plane of consciousness. It was brought to my attention the other day that many masters, many spiritual masters, to include Gandhi, for instance, was assassinated, knowing full well that their assassination was imminent. Yet the resistance from their reality was unavailable. That's the same way it went with the story of the Christed Jesus. The Christed Jesus, as the story goes, knew that he was going to suffer at the hands of the Jewish people through Pontius Pilate. Yet he chose, and in the biblical readings, it's clear that the Christed Jesus chose to be offered up to the courts, chose to be offered up to the people. And the people said, crucify him. It is incredibly scary for most of us to realize that we are the same. We are not different. That we are all bestowed with the realizations of godly consciousness. And that which we use to walk away from that is the idea that we are independent activities on a greater consciousness. We can choose to be one with each other and eliminate our resistance to inclusion. Or we can choose to resist. And what we know from three-dimensional rules is that which we resist persists. when I resist realizing that the reason relationship is difficult is because I choose to perceive myself as separate from, that I must take care of myself, that if I don't protect myself, I will be in danger. I have to consciously choose to release that idea from my head. What am I in danger of? The general statement is I'm in danger of not getting what I want, or that somebody else is going to get what I've already got, which is the two primary forms of fear that we experience: jealousy and envy. They really boil down to a fear of ceasing to breathe in this three-dimensional plane, which we call death. Knowing that I am the eternal expression of all that is, training myself to accept that, because it takes training. I am trained to believe that I am separate. I've been trained since birth to believe there's you and there's me. The reality is there is we and only we. And there's nothing to be afraid of. Nothing. You are the presence of God wherever you are. I am the presence of God wherever I am. We are the manifestation of God in this three-dimensional plane, because we can choose to be the manifestation of God. That's what gives us dominion over this three-dimensional plane, is the ability to choose. I am the divine child of God, and all is well. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to resist. I salute you as the presence of God. I love you as myself. We are one. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.